Thank you so much for all the joiners who are here with us today. We are here with a new webinar, I think a much awaited and a needed one. So we have Giridhar with us today. A quick introduction about Giridhar. He has been into ad tech industry for more than 10 years and have worked with quite a lot of renowned brands in India. So while, of course, like many of us want always a second source of income. So just like us, he always wanted to build an additional source of income, wherein he found that stock market was quite lucrative. But having a full-time job, I'm sure all of us are aware, it's quite difficult to manage your time and your schedule. So he managed to do a lot of research and understand that the US market was something that can help him with a job in hand, and as well as pursuing this additional source of income. And not only this, after doing a lot of research, he also understood that if he could prove that he is a good trader, there would be $100,000 US dollars investment that funding can be done to become a great trader in the US market. So here we have Giridhar with us, who's going to help us how that trick is, what is the secret, how can we be rich. So Giri, it's all yours now, and let us see the trick here and pick up something that we can.
Awesome. Thank you so much for the introduction, Lasna. So before I start off, I want to say that this is not a get rich quick scheme. It is not. Whatever I'm going to share with you today is a method using which the possibility is you can become a full-time trader, but there is no shortcut to this. There is a lot of work that is involved. There's a lot of money. There's a lot of time that needs to be spent in understanding what, where, and how, and only then you would see the fruits. So imagine you're a brain surgeon, right? For a brain surgeon, unless he doesn't spend at least 30 years of his life studying on how to do brain surgery, or rather from kindergarten to school. Look at us, for example, right? Even to get a very normal job, we spend at least 15 years of our life in just education so that we can get a normal job. And after that, what happens is all based on how hard we work and how much we learn on the job and all of that. So this is not a quick get rich scheme, but the possibility is that there is no limit to the kind of money that you can make in this market as long as you're disciplined and then you know how it works, right? So let's start off. How many of you know what this image is? How many of you watch Netflix? Do you guys know what this is? You can use the chat box and then you can put in your responses. Okay, I'm assuming a lot of people don't know what this is. Okay, so this is a shot from a series called as Money Heist. Okay, and these guys are all robbers. So their idea is, hey, we will not rob anybody. We will go directly to the printing press and we will print as much money as we want, and we'll take all with us. So it's a very, very good series. So that is the shortest way of making money, or rather you go to a bank, or rather you go to a mint which prints currency notes, and then go, if you're lucky, then you escape, right? So ideally, this is what they want to go ahead and rob. There's a money printing machine. So everybody jokes about anything, right? But we can't buy something that's very expensive. They're like, yeah, I'm printing the money in the machine, and then I shall have it by tomorrow. That is the usual common response. At least that's what I joke with my mom, right? Then I started thinking, okay, what if there is a machine? What if there is a way to make unlimited amounts of money, and how is that possible? So let me show you a very quick video. So this is a snapshot of my setup that I have. I have like 3 big screens. And then let me play a quick video for you and see how we can make this a reality. I don't know if you're able to see the numbers here at the top. I'll just play this video. And then this is one of the trades that I actually recorded. And what I'm trading here is in form of dollars. Okay. So let me just play this like a 30-second clip.
Okay. So the reason why I took this particular,
and this is called as trade logging, which means that what happened? Sharing is possible. Are you able to see my screen? You're able to see my screen, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Giridhar, before you play that, I have a question. Am I audible?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. So by trading, what does it mean? Is it about stock market or any kind of investment?
It is a stock market.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I haven't done that, and I hope to learn that.
It is not investment. So see, investments is that you buy something and then you hold for years together.
Right.
And then you don't know what's going to happen, and then you just keep waiting. Whereas what I specialize in is intraday trading, and it is super fast trading, which means that I get in and get out of trades in a matter of seconds, not even minutes. Sometimes I hold it for a couple of minutes, but otherwise it is usually in a couple of seconds. So the video that I'm playing here is approximately, this trade was approximately $250, and it took me less than 30 seconds to execute and get out of it.
Okay. Thanks.
So let me just play this, and you will also hear my voice because I want to keep a record of every single trade that I do. Just like any professional player, what they do is they also log it, which means that they would want to go back and see, okay, what they did right or wrong, and can they improvise on that. Okay. So if you can see this,
okay. So
this is where I put in the trade,
is
and it is in negative now.
a high momentum, and that is the reason I'm taking this particular trade. Okay. And now I'm able to close it.
Yeah. So there was approximately $200. I know that the font is super small, but you will not be able to see it. But that was approximately $200, and it took me less than 300 seconds to do that. Right. So if we have to go back to the presentation here, so this can become, this is my setup, if you can see. So this is like, I have 3 big screens where I look at all the markets and all of that, and then I trade. And this can truly become a money printing machine, which means that there is absolutely no limit on the kind of money that you can make. On the contrary, the only challenge is there is no limit on the kind of money that you can also lose. Okay. So when people get in, the challenge is they come in with the agenda of, hey, I want to get in, I want to double my money today. That's not going to happen unless you've spent at least a minimum of 1 or 2 years in understanding the market and then trading it and then being consistently profitable. See, if you look at the markets, there are only 2 choices that you have to make, either buy or sell. So even there, it's either you make money or lose money. It's 50-50, but the chances are you will keep losing a lot of money because a lot of emotions that are involved. The moment you put in a trade, it will fluctuate. It will not go in a straight line. It will go up and down, up and down, up and down. You should know what exactly happens. Okay. So this is where I kind of developed my interest, saying that, okay, if I have to be rich and if I have to make another source of income, well, stock market is a good option. And then I chose the US markets because they're open almost 24/5. So Monday to Friday, these markets are open almost 24 hours, except for a gap of 1 or 2 hours in between. So because I had a full-time job, I said, okay, I can trade early in the morning, I can trade sometime in the evening. Okay. And I've spent at least the last 2.5 years in understanding, refining, and studying the markets as to how, what, where. And now finally I'm able to see the fruits of all the effort that I put in for at least the last 2.5 to 3 years. Okay. Okay, so we'll get straight into it. Now, if you are a good trader, my recommendation is even after you learn, it can be any market, it can be even the Indian market. Even if you are getting into it, my suggestion is don't go really big when you're starting to understand, right? First is you have to learn what the market is, and then start slowly understanding, okay, how does this work, how does that work, what kind of instruments behave how, and all of that. And don't fall into trap of you might see a lot of ads on Instagram and Facebook and all of these places where they say that, hey, come and join our service, we will tell you which one to buy and which one to sell. And all of that is garbage, because all they'll do is they'll have two different groups, and in one group they will say you can go ahead and buy, one group they will say go ahead and sell. And one of them will be right and you feel, oh, you're making money. But making money consistently over time, even today, if you just open a brokerage account and just go and buy some random stock, the chances are again 50-50. You can make money in random chances. But then again, if you want consistency, that is not the way to go about it. So there are 3 platforms called as Top Step Trader, One Up Trader, and Earn to Trade. Now, these are again all US based companies. Now, what they do is they say that, hey, we will give you a demo account. If you know how to trade and if you can prove to us that you can trade, then we will fund you from $50,000 to $150,000. We will put in your account so that you can trade, and then we will take a cut. We will take a cut of maybe 20% once you're able to generate profits. Now that itself will take a lot of time. Okay. So these are the rules of the games if you want to get funded. So there is a $30,000 account, $50,000, $100,000, and $150,000. And they have certain rules which say that you have to make profit of at least, if they give you a $50,000 account, you have to make profit of at least $3,000 twice. It's a 2-step process. And they say that if you're consistently able to make a profit of $6,000, and you can take any amount of time, it can be 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, up to you. But if you're able to do that, we will fund you, and you can use our funds to go ahead and trade, and your money is not at risk. All that you're supposed to pay is $165 every month to us, and then we'll give you a demo account. Once you prove that you're able to make money consistently, we will fund you. Okay. So again, there's no magic trick to this. Anybody who is a consistent trader, who can go ahead and trade consistently, they can get funding from these companies. But the challenge is getting to that stage, and that stage itself might take anywhere from 6 months to 2 years. Again, as long as you're deliberate, as long as you put in a lot of effort and time, and then learn, and only then you'll be able to make this kind of money. So just like the way the trade that I showed you, where it took me less than 30 seconds to make $200, but to get to that stage is where all the time and effort that is required. Okay. And any questions so far with all the material that I've shared? Any questions at all?
I think we'll have questions at the end of the presentation.
Okay, no questions. All right, so how do I get started? I don't know anything about the markets. How do I go ahead and get started? So if you look at any trading platform or methodology, so basically there are ways to go ahead and trade. You should know how to trade. So basically what that means is There is something called as candlestick patterns. There is something called as chart patterns. There is something called as technical indicators. There's something called as volume profile. There's something called as order flow. By combining all of these, you get something called as strategies, which means that you have tested this over and over and over again, maybe over 3 months of time, 6 months of time. And then you know, okay, this kind of strategy is making me money consistently. So I'm going to just stick to that. And there is a lot of discipline that is involved in it. Okay. So let me take you through a chart on how a trading chart looks like. So if you look at this, so this is a website called as Trading View, and here you will be able to find charts of almost all commodities, all stocks that trade across the globe. Okay, so here let me put in like an Indian market stock, let's say something like a Reliance. Okay, so here this is Reliance. So 9:15 is when the Indian market opens, and then it closes by 3:30. Okay, what you're seeing here is called as a 5-minute candlestick chart. Okay, the time is here, and then when I say 5-minute candlestick chart, the colors that you see, which is green and red, identifies a single candle. So the meaning of this particular candle means at the start of 10:10 on 29th of May, this was the price, which is 1456. Okay, and at the end of 5 minutes, at the end of 10:15, this is where the price was, which is 1460. If you look at this at the top here, this is telling you that in 5 minutes it rose by 0.31%. Okay, which means that if you had invested 1 lakh, you would have made 3,000. If you had invested 10 lakhs, you would have made 30,000 rupees in a span of 5 minutes. Okay, the other thing is also true. Imagine you say that, okay, it is going here at the top, and you buy it here, okay, at the top. In a span of 10 minutes until here, if you are impatient, you don't know what you're doing, you can lose almost 0.3%, which means that if you had invested 10 lakhs, you might have even lost, let's say, 30,000 rupees. And that is the reality of this particular game, which means that no matter who tells you that there is a strategy that works 100% of the times, there is no way for anybody in the world to predict that my strategy is 100% right. It is not possible. It can be 90 to 95% accurate. You will still have 5% losing trades. There is no way anybody in this world that can tell you that 100% of my trades are profitable. That doesn't work that way. Okay. So the whole funda of this particular industry is that if you're on a losing trade, get out as quickly as possible. But if you're making money, hold on to it until it starts going against you. So the whole idea is you lose less and make more. Your winning percentage should be higher than your losing percentage. That's all. That is the only way to be consistently profitable over a long period of time. Okay. So based on this candlestick charts, there are certain patterns that occur almost on a regular basis. Okay.
Giridhar, can I ask a question here?
Yeah, Renu, go ahead.
So I don't know if that will be covered ahead in the presentation. For how long do you suggest, or should one wait and hold on when it starts getting against?
Okay, that falls into the category of a strategy.
Right.
So which means that I for example, let's say I'll just give you a gist of one.
I know it might be also an individual, a very specific individual thing, but then in generic, if there is some norm to it.
There is, so again, it depends on the kind of participants that are in the market as well. Okay, so again, there are different kinds of participants in the industry. There are certain scalpers, which means that they take in a trade and will be able to get out here. They're happy with it, right? Their quantity is huge. Let's say they put in 10,000 quantity, okay, at 1455.3, and then 1456.3, 10,000 quantity, 1 rupee, 10,000 rupees. I'm happy with it. I'll get out. Okay. There are some people who will say, okay, I will buy maybe 100 shares here and I will wait until here and say that, okay, it is at 1455. Now it's at 1465. Now I will get out. 100 into 10 is equivalent to, let's say, 1,000 rupees. I will wait for it because quantity was super low. So there is no right or wrong here. It is all about what are the kind of strategies that you have tested over time, and then you know for sure that, okay, this works, and that is the reason I'm working, or rather I'm taking this particular trade. The whole idea is you need to have an edge. When I say an edge, how can you be consistently be profitable? What knowledge do you have that can beat the market, or at least all of these participants? Because think of it, right? For every buyer, there is a seller that is sitting there. Okay, the market will not. So all this is happening here is that within 5 minutes, there are, if you look at this is a volume. Okay, in this particular 5 minute, 326,000 shares exchange hands, which means that somebody sold out of 326,000. There is a buyer and a seller, which means that there are 326,000 people who sold to people who wanted to buy at this particular price. It can be in the range of 1463 to 1456. Okay, you'll always hear this in the market saying that, oh, the market is going up. There are a lot of buyers compared to sellers and all that. That is not true. What is true is, unless there is no buyer and seller, the transaction will not happen. Okay, which means that every buyer there is a seller, and only then transaction can happen. So think of it in this way. This is a market, which means that they all come to this when price keeps moving. For example, Bitcoin is moving now. So it is not static. All this while I was showing you static charts. But if you look at this now, at this point in time, this is the advertising price. This is where the price is getting advertised. Okay. And then somebody might be willing to buy, somebody might be willing to sell. Okay. Let me see. If I can show you something called as a depth of market also. Let's see. Okay, depth of market is something that is not here. Okay, but otherwise, if you're able to see this in other markets, you will be able to see there are buyers who will be willing to buy at a lower price. There are sellers who will be willing to sell at a higher price. That is what we want, right? So sellers want to sell at a higher price. Buyers want to buy at a lower price. Now, if nobody moves, the transaction doesn't happen. So somebody has to give up. Buyer has to go to the seller at the top, or seller has to say that, okay, fine, I will sell it at a lower price. Only then the market will move. For example, now the sellers will be sitting at the top. This is called as a book. And then there are buyers who are willing to buy at a higher price. And that is the reason the price is going up. Okay. Guys, how many of you are able to understand what I'm saying? Or at least are able to comprehend what I'm saying?
It's pretty clear, Giridhar, to me.